Okay, what I'm going to review with you is complementary, supplementary, and vertical angles. Now, here's the thing is sometimes it seems to be really easy and sometimes we just take the shortcuts. What I would highly recommend is that you actually do it the long way so that you can get yourself into a habit of solving those more difficult algebra type problems. So typically on this one, complementary, if you recall, is two angles that add up to 90 degrees. I'm going to write it like an algebra problem, though, even though you probably even have the answer a long time ago. Well, because you saw it, or you thought about it yourself. So some angle plus 75 equals 90. If you get in the habit of doing that, and you think about how to solve the equations, subtract the 75, you're going to get 15. And I know a couple of you are thinking, hey, I just went 90 minus 75. I got the answer. I know that. But let's take a look at this next question right here. And I should probably hide the answer on this one right here. Quite often, every single year, I do a question like this where it's the ratio of 2 to 3. So you know it's not 45 and 45. You know, that would be too nice if it was that case of x and x. But one's obviously larger than the other. How do I solve this is what question comes up to some students. Well, think about it. Both of the angles add up to 90. That's why I recommend it. Start doing it like this way so that you can see a pattern here. Then you just combine like terms. You're going to get 5x. When you divide by 5, you get 18. Common mistake, this answer is 18. No. X equals 18. Now you got to find out how much each angle is. So it's just a matter of plugging it in. So you're going to go 3 times 18 is 54. Now some students will subtract this from 90 and get the other answer, but I kind of like to just make sure, double check everything seems to be right. I go 2 times 18 is 36. They should be complementary. 54 and 36 should equal 90. Now if you came up with 18 and some other number, it's not going to add up to 90. So real quick check, both of them add up to 90. The easy one plus 75 equals 90, so you're going to subtract. If you have any type of variables involved in here, set them up, and even if there is some constants in there, add them together, set it equal 90, and solve for your variable, and then plug it in. So this is going to go true with the supplementary. So if you take a look at the next one, supplementary, as you recall, are two angles that add up to 180. If I would ask you this question right here, a lot of you probably would go, 180 minus 115. That is going to give you the answer. But get in the habit of adding it together and setting it equal to 180, which you obviously subtract 115, and you get 65. Double check, no subtraction error, 65 plus 115 equals 180. All right, let's start looking at some of these other questions that sometimes you're going to look at and go, what do I do here? So on this next one, we've got two angles. They're supplementary. How do I know they're supplementary? Yes, they're adjacent. You've got a straight angle, and a straight angle is 180 degrees. So these are things that are not in the problem, but you got to figure that out based on what you see. Are they equal? No, they're not vertical angles. They're supplementary, so they add up to 180. So I take both of those expressions, the 2x from the one on the left and the 4x minus 12 on the right, I set it equal to 180. I combine the like terms. Notice how I went 2 plus 4 is 6. So I combine the like terms. And then I have to do the additive inverse, undo the addition and do subtraction, however you want to say this, of the minus 12, and the opposite is plus 12. So I get 6x equals 192. Do a division, and I'm going to get 32. Most of the times when you do these problems, you're going to get a nice whole number or a very simple decimal. If you get it like repeating decimal, you might have done something wrong. Not necessarily, but you might have, because a lot of these questions you start off pretty easy. Then you got to do is plug it back in to the value. So you're going to go 2 times 32. You should get 64. And then you should go 4 times 32 minus 12 is 116. And both of these angles are supplementary, so they do add up to 180. So keyword with supplementary is 180. Set your expression equal to 180 and solve for your variable. If it's something more complicated like this, your last step is going to be plugging in. One more to go. We're going to do vertical angles. Now with vertical angles, I could have thrown in there some of this supplementary stuff, So I'm just going to touch on it even though I don't have an example in there. If I had an angle measurement right next to it, sure, I would add those together and set it equal to 180, but they're across from each other. You've learned that vertical angles have the same measure. So A and B up here, same measure. These ones that are not labeled, same measure. I don't know what they are, but they're going to have the same measurement. So what do I do? Well, just think about an equal sign popping up right in between there. If they're on the opposite sides, they're going to be equal. So you set 2x equals 79. The opposite of multiplication is division. Divide by 2, and you will get 39.5. So on this one, obviously the other angle is 79 degrees. You'd probably be asked, solve for x, and you're going to get x equals 39.5. Turning to a question that has a little bit more involved in it, where you're going to have your algebra skills, is going back to this equal sign. It's just, boom, they're equal. So you can go x plus 16 equals 4x minus 5. There are several ways to solve this. I like to combine the like terms here. So I'm going to subtract x from both sides. And I'm going to get 3x minus 5 is equal to 16. I'm going to add 5 to both sides. So I get 3x equals 21. And then I'm going to divide by divide by 3. Sorry, I almost gave you the answer there. And x equals 7. Whole number, probably right. Let me go back in and plug it in and then see what I get. Well, some number plus 16 is going to be this value right here. So I'm going to go 7 plus 16. I get 23. I'm going to go 4 times 7 minus 5. That's also going to give me 23. So with vertical angles, if they're opposite each other, they're equal. Set the two expressions equal. Solve for your variable. You should be able to get the answer. And if you have to, plug it back in and solve that value. If I was to put a number next to each other, well, then that's supplementary. So you're going to add those two up equal to 180. So that brings you back to the examples that we did here. Hope this makes sense to you. If you have any questions, play the video again. If you happen to be one of my students, I should have the notes posted so that you can look at it again, because I know you're surprised that I actually talk fast. So good luck with it. Thank you.